And welcome, everybody. This is the Appraiser Coach Podcast. My name is Dustin Harris. I want to welcome each and every one of you out to the podcast today, which also happens to be a video cast, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I want to pause here, first of all, to let you know that we are sponsored by ANow Software. ANow is your total appraisal management software. You can find them at anow.com/coach. That's anow.com/coach. Well, hello, everybody. I'm waving to the camera. We are now officially on YouTube. Very excited for this foray into new technology. Those of you who are longtime listeners of the Appraiser Coach podcast know that I am big on technology. I'm huge on technology. Video is where it is at, folks. So the question comes, Dustin, why are you doing video now? Well, let's just put it this way. Google owns YouTube. Got it? Enough said. You know, I've actually had several appraisers reach out to me the last little while and ask me about certain topics. And, you know, the funny thing is a lot of those are already covered in a podcast. And so I point them towards the podcast and they say, well, you know, I never knew you did that. That's great to know. I've had a lot of people find me and then they go into this kind of binge listening mode where they start from the beginning and start listening to every single episode. I can't believe how boring that would be. But I appreciate the listeners out there. But, you know, what's funny is a lot of this stuff is covered. A lot of these questions are covered, but people aren't finding it. And unless you already understand podcasting, unless you already maybe subscribe to some of the other podcasts out there, and then you happen to go into your search bar and type in the word appraiser, you know what? You're not going to find me unless you know other things that I am doing out there that you know refer back to the podcast. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what is a podcast, number one? And number two, how do I get on? And how do I listen? And how do I subscribe? And how do I do all of that stuff? Unless you are in that mode already, you're probably not going to find a lot of this information. And so I've had several people, including my marketing manager, come to me and say, Dustin, dude, you got to be on YouTube. And so we are now on YouTube. I want a quick shout out to Nate, my great marketing manager. Those of you who have been to some of the conferences lately have met Nate. Great guy. He can be a little intimidating. You know, he's tall. He's got the wild haircut. He's got the tattoos, but he's just a great guy and a great guy to get to know. Very smart. And, you know, he's encouraged me to be on YouTube. I knew that I needed to be on YouTube for months now. But honestly, it was such a hassle to set up. Not that YouTube itself is hard to set up, but the intro and the webcam and the lighting and the making sure everything looks good. I actually had to clean my office. I mean, you know, but the purpose mainly of the YouTube channel is going to be so that people, when they search in certain keynote, SEO, they put in keywords to Google. We want our topics to be able to be found because these are questions that appraisers have that we think we've got at least some answers on. And so we want to make sure that appraisers get those answers and they get them quickly. And the best way to do that is through Google. And the best way to be found on Google right now is YouTube. So there you go. That's where we're at. I want to pause here and talk about another technology, and that is ANow Software. Folks, if you have not already checked out ANow Software, you need to. Why? I just got done with a coach call today, and the individual on the other end of the line was talking about how much he hates running his business. He is an individual who likes to appraise, to just focus on appraisal. And there's so much going on the business side of things that sometimes it can distract, it can pull back from, his focus on write-ups and his focus on inspections and choosing comps and the things that he is trained and likes to do. And so I talked to him about ANow Software and told him about the way that it manages your office. Now, folks, you still have to have the human touch. You've still got to be involved in your business. This is not going to alleviate your ability or your duty to be involved in your business. But folks, if you want to speed the process, if you want to cut down the amount of red tape that you have to deal with running a business, ANow is where it's at. Why? It keeps track of your appraisal orders. It keeps track of your appraisers. It keeps track of the people in the field. It keeps track of your schedules. It keeps track of who's been paid, who's not. You're able to track your appraisal from start to finish and know exactly what step it's in. Guess what? It will tell you when the due date is coming up. It will give you a warning so you don't have those late reports anymore. That's what ANow will do for you. New web address just recently. They just added a little bit at the end, and I would encourage you to use the ending. You can go to anow.com, yes, but go to anow.com/coach just to let the guys there at ANow know that we are making a difference, and the people are going to their site are coming to them through the Appraiser Coach podcast. So if you don't mind, just an extra word, a little slash, anow.com/coach for more information. That's anow.com/coach. And folks, we have a brand new sponsor today. I'm really, really happy about this new sponsor. It doesn't seem like it's appraisal related, but just hold on, just listen to me. Speaking of video, today is our first video cast. We're excited about that. But have you heard of Consta Video? Consta Video is a new sponsor here at the Appraiser Coach podcast. And basically it's this. It's a little camera that you wear on your ear. Now, you might think that that's weird, but trust me, folks, nobody will be able to see it. It is very, very stealth. You put it on your ear, and it basically records your entire day. It's like a body cam, but it's an ear cam, and it shows everything. It records in audio, it records in video, it records everything. I'll tell you, the best thing about Consta Video is when my teenage son says to me, "Dad, you said," fill in the blank. Those of you who have teenagers or kids in general, you're going to know what I'm talking about. "Hey, Dad, but wait a minute, you said," da-da-da-da-da, and they make up this stuff out of thin air. Well, all you have to do is reach up, poke a little button, and it rewinds the camera, it rewinds the audio, and you're able to see and view exactly what you said and did earlier and prove that that teenage son of yours is full of it. That's what Constant Video will do for you. Now, how does this relate to appraisals? Well, folks, there's nothing quite like walking through a house and then getting accused of something that you did not do. Constant Video will be in your work file, allow you to be able to reference back if you've ever accused of a crime, if you've ever been accused of saying something that you know you didn't say. Constant Video is there for you, folks. Did you get accused of doing something you didn't do? Get Constant Video and show them what is true. All right, folks, we are back. Those of you who are watching on the webcam might notice we've got a little pause there, and that's when the music comes in. I'm not even sure if we're going to have music on the webcam side of things. I kind of doubt it. We're gonna start out kind of redneck because we are broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains, which is the rurals of Idaho. But nonetheless, you will notice a difference between the podcast itself and the video cast. Okay, so I want to explain to the listeners out there and to the viewers out there what the difference is, okay? At least in the beginning, and this may change down the road, but at least in the beginning, the way that I understand that this will work is, there's things that happen during a podcast. Some of them I put at, as Easter eggs at the end. Those of you who've listened clear through the credits will sometimes get an Easter egg at the end where I spilled my soda. Somebody called me and I forgot to turn off my phone. Somebody walks through that door back there and interrupts me. Things happen during a podcast. I have the most excellent editor. Hi, Sam. Shout out to Sam. Sam does an excellent job. So I basically deliver to him the raw feed for the podcast, and he very quickly and efficiently, with high quality, edits out all of the junk that you don't want to hear on the other side. Okay, and a lot of times he'll take something that was a screw up, and as I've done this more and more, I've gotten a little bit better at it, and so I don't have as many flub ups as I used to have, but they still happen. And so Sam is excellent in taking those things out, and so what you hear on Stitcher Radio or iTunes is a cleaned up version of the raw feed. Now, my goal here with the video cast is actually going to be a little bit opposite of that, and I think it's because the way I want to do this is I want to do it more raw feed style. I want to be able to do it in such a way that you can kind of see, maybe not behind the scenes, because what you see is what you get. I mean, this is my office. This is the back room, if you will. This is where I broadcast from. This is my studio. And so you're not going to see the green room, and you're not going to see the camera itself, and you're not going to certainly see a cameraman because it's not a cameraman. It's just the camera. But one thing you're going to see is maybe the crap that happens, behind the scenes. So if I've got a guest on, for example, we may do a Skype recording and hopefully have them on and us. I don't know how that's going to work yet. A lot of this stuff is still premature. We're still going to have to test it out. We're going to have to see how it goes. But at the very least, you'll see the webcam of my ugly mug. Sorry about that. But I am the face of the Appraiser Coach, for good or ill. My wife would say for ill. But the point is I think there's something to be said about authentic me. I think there's something to be said about the authentic process of creating a podcast. And that's kind of what I want to present to the world on YouTube when it comes to the video. So if I screw up, if the phone call gets through and what have you, okay, that's just part of the process. That's part of the deal. You may see that. Now, I'm certainly not going to probably keep the webcam going. I can pause it. Watch this. I'm going to try it. Here we go. Pause. And unpaused. I moved to the side so you can see that I actually moved, that I actually paused the camera. So I assume if I get interrupted, I'll probably hit the pause button. But for the most part, you're going to see the raw feed. We're not going to do a lot of video editing here. This is kind of the behind the scenes. When I was a kid, I actually wanted to be a broadcaster. And one of the things that I wanted to do so badly is I wanted to go to a television studio and actually see what it looked like. And I remember the first time as a Boy Scout I was able to do that. And I went to the local News 8 studios here in Idaho Falls, Idaho, and we toured the studios and they showed us all of the the editing rooms and the offices and the front desk and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get to the good stuff, right? And so they took us, and the very last thing is they took us into the studio, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, really? Like, this is what I see every night on TV? Like, this is nothing. Like, this is so little, and it's so cardboardish, and it just was not anything like what you see on TV was not definitely what I saw in person. And I kind of want you to get that behind the scenes look, if you will. So if there's screw ups, if there's flub ups, if there's mess ups, hey, guess what? You're going to get to see them. So there you go. Now, as far as listening goes and watching goes, I just want to technically let you know very quickly what this looks like. You can find us on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and you just have to go to the YouTube, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. I highly encourage you that you subscribe. And the reason you do that is by subscribing to the YouTube channel, each time we have a new episode, it will come to your email and it will alert you that there's a new episode there and you can watch that. Now, this is great for people who are working in their office. They might have multiple monitors. They can throw up throw up. Yeah. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. They can throw the video on one monitor and be able to watch that while they're typing up reports. And I would highly encourage you that you do that. And you get a little bit of the behind the scenes action, if you will, of the Appraiser Coach podcast. But this will not, I repeat, will not affect the audio at all. So if you are a subscriber to Stitcher, if you're a subscriber to iTunes, you will just continue to get the Appraiser Coach podcast like you have always gotten it. So you can really choose at this point. By the way, if you want to sync up and listen on iTunes while you're watching the video, it probably is not going to sync up really well because, again, the audio is going to continue to be edited. It will be the cleaned up version. The video is going to be the raw version. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. There you go. So, folks, thank you for joining me for the Appraiser Coach podcast and now videocast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited. Would love to get your feedback at the bottom of either the podcast, which is the audio. So you just go online, go to theappraisercoach.com and write in the comments section your thoughts, your feedback. If you have any suggestions on the video side, hey guys, I'm open to it, right? This is a new experience for me, and I'm certainly welcome to be open to be taught. And if you are on iTunes and you're listening to this or watching this for the first time, there's a comment section right below where you're videoing right now. I would highly encourage that you jump in there and give me a quick shout out and a comment. We encourage the comments here for good or ill. If you want to give some constructive feedback, we would be happy and open to that as well. So welcome again to the Appraiser Coach podcast and now videocast, and we will catch you next week.